Dylan Mulvaney marketing its reign is officially over. Bud Light falls outside top 10 favorite beers in the US following $20 Dylan Mulvaney marketing disaster, U survey finds. The leagued Bud Light has fallen out of the list of the country's top 10 favorite beers, according to a new poll. The latest poll comes after a whole litany of problems for brewer Anheuser-Busch after they partnered with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Mulvaney only recently broke her silence on a fiasco and excoriated the troubled brand for not standing by her. Bud Light is no longer ranked amongst the top 10 in the US after the Dylan Mulvaney marketing disaster, a survey has found. In a new YouGov poll, which asked 1,468 people, the public approval of the beer slumped so much it fell out of the top 10. While the proportion of Americans who liked Bud Light hadn't changed, the popularity of other rival beers surged, pushing it into 15th place. The latest slump in popularity comes after a disaster move by brewer Anheuser-Busch in April that saw them pair with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Since then, Anheuser-Busch has tanked more than $27 billion in market value, and two of its top executives took a leave of absence. For a survey, YouGov polled a nationally representative sample of 1,468 Americans during the second quarter of 2023, which runs from April to the end of June. They found that Guinness, Corona and Heineken were the three most liked beers of 2023, with approval from 58%, 53%, and 51% of Americans, respectively. In the second quarter of 2022, 42% of Americans liked Bud Light, according to YouGov, putting it on a par with Corona Extra, Dos Equis and Coors Light. The Bud Light figure remained the same during the second quarter of 2023, but as other beers saw their approval rise, its relative approval fell into a tie with Pabst Blue Ribbon, Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Lite. Mulvaney had shared images of herself with a personalized can celebrating 1 year since she transitioned, as well as posed with cans of the beer in a bathtub. The brand were accused of meddling in one of the most hot-button culture war issues there is. The partnership upset conservative drinkers who were quick to boycott the brand, but also enraged liberals who said the company failed to respond in solidarity with Mulvaney. Mulvaney only recently broke her silence on a fiasco and excoriated the troubled brand for not standing by her. Speaking to her 1.8 million followers, she said, "Was waiting for the brand to reach out to me, but they never did. I've been scared to leave my house. For a company to hire a trans person and then not publicly stand by them is worse than not hiring a trans person at all. I have been ridiculed in public, I have been followed, and I have felt a loneliness that I wouldn't wish on anyone." Recent figures show sales of Bud Light dropped 27.9% on last year in the week ending June 24. Sales of the beer have continued to decline as the company continued to alienate an increasingly large portion of the market. This drop in sales coincides with an increase in Modelo sales, indicating that America's appetite for beer remains strong, but its preferences are shifting. Modelo Special's distribution is controlled by Bud Light parent Anheuser-Busch, but its U.S. operations are owned by Constellation Brands, which reported an 11% increase in sales for the second quarter of this year. In mid-June, Modelo became the best-selling beer in the U.S., a position previously held by Bud Light for more than 2 decades.